Paints the morning sky.
Lines in the sky.
Brilliant, bright white plumes.
Strange circles.
What chemicals they use, I do not know.
Peculiar patterns.
And I saw grids and grids, planes flying back and forth.
For thousands of people in Colorado,
I think they're spraying chemicals.
across the country, and around the world,
It's scary. It is very scary.
it is a mile-high mystery.
They say when you see those jet contrails in the sky that don't disappear, that's proof that the government is using planes to spray chemicals into the atmosphere to manipulate or control the weather.
Turning normal jet contrails into chemical trails or chemtrails.
Because they're using government planes that are unmarked.
And while some call the concept crazy,
So when they say, no, there's nothing going on, I don't believe that.
Rosalind Peterson says it's anything but.
I think that this is terribly serious in the United States.
The former USDA crop inspector, who was invited to speak at the UN Conference on Climate Change in 2007, has been tracking the government's research on weather modification and something called geoengineering, a way of fighting global warming by putting chemicals like aluminum and barium into the atmosphere to create clouds which reflect the sun's rays.
Geoengineering is to make a change which is unnatural.
She says the suspicious-looking sky shows the government is already experimenting with the weather. And that's why health department records show a sharp increase in barium and aluminum in California's water supply.
Why would we be finding barium and aluminum and other chemicals in our drinking water and have man-made clouds persisting for 20 hours or more?
But Joe Golden from NOAA's headquarters in Boulder says the chemicals in the water are likely caused by man-made pollution.
I have not been able to find any evidence in the scientific literature or elsewhere that anybody, either our government or any private sector or military agency, has been using or spreading chemicals.
He says what we're seeing in the sky are contrails, not some government conspiracy.
No matter what you say, people are going to still believe that something is going on. And to that I say, well, ask the FAA.
So we did ask the FAA.
And those are definitely not, they're definitely not chemicals. It's just heat. It's just a heat reaction to the sub-zero temperature air that's around it.
Still, Golden admits scientists are experimenting with the weather on a smaller scale. Here in Colorado, cloud seeding to create rain or snow is a common practice.
There are things that we believe we can do, but a lot more research needs to be done.
That's why Golden says we will soon see more weather modification programs, including geoengineering, in the near future. But he says it's not happening yet.
There are 172 bills before the U.S. Senate right now calling for more weather modification programs. And while scientists say it's one way to reduce greenhouse gases, opponents say the consequences could be devastating.
All of these things change the growing cycles.
Peterson says altering the amount of sunlight that hits the earth will lead to damaged crops, dead and dying trees, and the disappearance of honeybees.
Then I think we're going to be in more trouble than ever before.
So is it a contrail or a conspiracy? No matter.
There you go, guys. I'm not sure if you can hear me in the background. I just couldn't help myself when they just blatantly lie. I mean, you're the NOAA. You have all these little facilities around the country monitoring this crap, dude. If you don't know, then you ain't looking that hard enough, buddy. You should be fired. The FAA, yeah, you know, FAA, I mean, they know every airplane that's in the sky. I mean, they know it. That's their job. So if they don't know about unmarked planes flying around spraying chemicals, basically, on everything, then they're not doing that good of a job then, right? The truth of the matter is that they are warming the planet with these chemicals. So, tell you, it took me about 15 attempts to play this video, so for whatever it's worth, I'm having all kinds of tech issues now with this last video. Airline passengers told to lower shades during chemtrail spraying. It was not a normal check with a simple passage in the corridor, so conclusive evidence for covert geoengineering. Go there and check it out. It's an eyewitness that was on the plane saying that basically they were around there spraying. So eventually they just asked everybody to close their little window shades. Weatherman Scott Stevens from June 30th Says here, the antithesis of summer. The jet stream is setting up in a pattern that I've never seen during the summer season. The flow is straight from the Canadian Arctic for the eastern U.S. and the west under this monster high pressure, with many western weather stations potentially reaching all-time record temperatures. The jet stream map below is a forecast from this evening for this coming Tuesday evening. Note that Colorado is smack under the highly anomalous summer pattern. Record heat in the west and soaking rains in the east. West is so hot, planes are grounded. Forecasters call for more supercharged temperatures today as a heat wave gripped the southwest, leaving one man dead, another hospitalized. Remember, I just covered, I tried going into the site, into this site, the weatherspace.com. They didn't have them. They didn't have, which is kind of interesting. I tried finding a long wave, basically the measure of these ELFs for Haarp and weather modification, and it's not up there anymore. But at the last time I covered it, it was all about what? It was in the red, all in the western United States. So, something that needs to be mentioned. 19 firefighters killed in Arizona fire, now at 8,400. Death Valley high temperature record likely broken, but will go unnoticed. So the trip to Death Valley on Sunday, June 30th, yields results that could have broken the record at Furnace Creek in 1913. The record stands at 134 degrees, but a temperature of 135.5 at Badwater Basin may go down as one of the Weather Service missed. So there's a little, I guess that's just kind of evidence there. But next, and if you are in the sun or something, ditch the sunscreen, use coconut oil instead. You can also make your own insect repellent out of various things, including coconut oil, and that main thing is eucalyptus and one other thing I can't remember right now, but it says here that these talking about UV rays from the sun. Don't always reach for toxic sunscreens, because instead you can pack some extra virgin coconut oil along with your beach towel. So it says here that coconut oil has been used as an effective sunscreen for thousands of years by indigenous Pacific Islanders. So why slather toxic chemicals on your body when you can use the non-toxic coconut oil instead? It says there are two types of UV ultraviolet rays from the sun, the UVA and the UVB. UVA rays are primarily responsible for skin damage from excessive sun exposure that can lead to cancer and aging. However, the UVB rays can also damage and sunburn. They are necessary for your body to produce, it says here, its own cancer protective vitamin D via the skin. Sunlight is by far the optimal way to produce your vitamin D, and blocking UVB rays may inadvertently be increasing your cancer risk by blocking the vitamin D absorption. Plus, sunscreen causes cancer through carcinogenic ingredients. And the links will be posted by tomorrow evening. You can go in there and check it out. I'm not going to go through all this, but keep your dog cool in the summer with 10 do-it-yourself home remedies to prevent overheating. And some of them are pretty, pretty obvious as far as the water and stuff like that. But one important thing, never leave your dog in a closed car during summer. Even when the windows are open, dogs will overheat in just a few minutes. If the outside temp is 80 degrees, then the car will heat to over 110 degrees in a matter of 15 minutes. One of the things I like to do, just kind of out of, gut intuition, and it mentions on here, is, cold, wet rags, around their neck and that. 3,000 still missing in India after, 2 weeks of devastating floods, landslides triggered by heavy rains. According to the official, about 1,000 people died after flash floods and landslides ravaged the Himalayan state. Hell to pay, residents angry as the RCMP seized guns from High River homes. So these are the ones that were flooded out there, I think, near Calgary and Alberta in Canada. It's just like Nazi Germany. So, again, that's a misnomer. That's, again, rewritten history. But hey, for whatever it's worth. They say that they revealed Thursday that officers have seized a substantial amount of firearms from homes in the evacuated towns of High River. People have a significant amount of money invested in firearms, so we put them in a place that we can control and they're safe. That news didn't sit well with a crowd of frustrated residents who had planned to breach a police checkpoint northwest of the town as an evacuation order stretched into the 8th day. They find it absolutely credible that they have the right to go into a person's belongings out of their home. It says here, learning Mounties have been taking residents' guns. When people find out about this, there's going to be untold hell to pay. Well, we'll see, right? Only time will tell. 10 people will live in climate hotspots by 2100, so 1 in 10 around the world will live in a place where climate change, not chemtrails, is damaging. at least 2 major sectors such as crop yields, water, ecosystems, or health. So that's an international study, and the internationalists and the UN knows about geoengineering because it was held back in the 70s. So I think the thing was is that I think they said that it couldn't be used for military purposes. So they opened the door to private. So that's why you don't know much about finding the details of this program. Why? Because it's a very quasi public-private. I mean, you're talking about CIA Evergreen planes possibly being involved in this. Evergreen is a front company for the agency. You got all types of the Department of Energy. You have the Navy involved in this. You have the Air Force involved in this. You have national laboratories, which are, again, public-private. You have all of these universities that are involved in it. Again, public-private. So... But, yeah, so you can go there and check it out, but it keeps talking about climate change, right? IMF says climate change will create jobs. So chemtrails and weather modification will create jobs. You like that, guys? So it will create disasters before it creates jobs, but it will create jobs. And there you go. There's the rational logic. And remember, you didn't have a damn say about it, so... California gas tax hike goes into effect now, highest in nation. Starting this week, drivers in California are spending more to fill up at the pump. 3.5 cents per gallon tax hike went into effect on Monday. So it's calculated to add about $26 more a year for a person who drives 15,000 miles and gets 20 miles per gallon. Statewide, the average price in California is $4. That's pretty crazy. I thought it'd be more, but weekly map, state gasoline tax rates. So you can go there and see the tax rates. You'd be surprised by some of them. One of them I'm not is Wyoming. When I drove through there one time, it was the lowest I've ever seen all the gas driving out to the West Coast in the Midwest. 14 cents compared to, say, 27, 25, 24. I mean, it was almost $1 cheaper than places like Iowa, which kind of have cheaper gas, too. Pensioners living on pocket money as savings crisis hit millions. Almost 2 million retired adults in the UK have less disposable income than the average 11-year-old, as Britain's savings crisis creates a generation of pension paupers. So this is all money and wealth that was accumulated by these hardworking people, and it was siphoned off into a few hands. Double dip recession never actually happened. So there you go. The Office of National Statistics says updates to its past calculations on the performance of the UK economy mean Britain was never in a double dip recession at all. So, you feel better about that as your standard of living goes down and your disposable income goes down, your savings go down, or if you do have any. U.S. consumers feel more confident but are still cautious. I'm not too sure about that. I see all these brand new trucks driving around, mostly Dodge. I mean, these things are freaking huge. They're big. And it's like, where are they all coming from? Where are people getting all this money? And it's like, it's not that. It's that they're getting loans for these $30,000, $40,000 trucks. You look at them, they have all this fake chrome or this chrome all over them. They're very clean, they're huge, so they don't mind paying $150 to fill up their tank, and they don't mind propping up the petrodollar, right? The irony is that most of them aren't even using these trucks for what they're meant to be for, which is hauling. They're all brand new, they're shiny and clean. I guess it's their right? But I just find it's funny that they're spending all that money on these trucks that they're not even going to use with money that they don't have. Yes, I do feel more confident, but I don't know how much more cautious they are. The top CEOs scored a 16% pay rise last year. Oprah Winfrey topped Forbes Celebrity Power List. Italy unemployment rate hits a new record as student loan rates are set to double on July 1st. Americans work on vacation, including on the beach or the toilet. Women from Florida, gang of robbers arrested for stealing from an NFL player. A woman upset over a seat splashes gasoline on a Metro bus passenger. The girl got mad because someone sat beside her. It says Randy Harris, the victim, says the bus was crowded and she asked him to move. When the man refused, they argued and the woman pulled a plastic water bottle filled with gasoline from her bag and witnessed. So she just happened to have it, so. And the suspect was Ebony D. Williams of Kansas City. So I don't know, this may have been a hate crime. They didn't add the descriptions of these people, but I was just talking about how there's, a race riot would be incited around the Zimmerman-Trayvon case. Black man attacks white blind woman. Then you have this recently. White family demands black man be charged with a hate crime after he came in there and just basically attacked this man and his daughter at the Colorado Steakhouse. Ancient white man's skull has Australians reconsidering their origins. They raised questions about whether Captain James Cook was really the first European to land on the country's east coast. And there has been new evidence last year of basically that supports the Solutrean hypothesis. European people may have been among the earliest settlers in the Americas. Thank you.